This lesson is on adding and subtracting and multiplying and dividing with real numbers, so real number operations. So example 1, let's look at negative 12 plus 7. It seems pretty basic. You're going to, same signs add, different signs subtract. These are different signs, so officially we subtract and keep the sign of the larger number. 12 minus 7 is 5, and 12 is a negative, and it's a larger absolute value, so it would be negative 5. The other way to do it, make sure if you're doing it in a calculator, negative, this is the negative sign down here, this is not the negative sign. You need to do the negative, and then 12 plus 7, negative 5, okay? Make sure you're not using that subtraction sign. Let's look at another example. Okay. Let's say negative 18 minus 2. Okay. Whenever I see a subtraction sign, I like to change, keep the first sign. It's a negative, leave it. Change the sign, change the sign. Okay. And now I have same signs so that I can add them together. 18 and 2 is 20, and keep the sign. It's a negative. Okay. In the calculator, you would have that negative sign all the way down here, 18, and you can do plus a negative 2 or minus 2 more. It's the same thing. It's still negative 20. Okay. Example 3, negative 4.8 plus 9.5, 9.5. Again, you should be able to do that by hand, knowing same signs add, different signs subtract, or you could just in the calculator, negative 4.8 plus 9.5 is positive 4 7/10. All right, and then the last one. Let's put a fraction in here. Let's say 3/4 plus a negative 5/6. Okay. And what I'm going to want you to do before you can do anything, if you don't know how to put that in the calculator, is to find the least common denominator, that LCD. Okay, so I know that my least common denominator is going to be 12, so I can write equivalent fractions. So that would be 9/12 because I multiplied by 3 plus a negative, so I'm making that a 12, multiplying by 2. And now I have different signs, so I'm going to subtract. Okay, 10 minus 9 is 1 over, keep my denominator the same, and my larger fraction is a negative, so we're going to keep it a negative. Okay, what you're going to do now, let's do some of the gotchas. To make sure that you got it, so you can pause the video after you copy these down. Not gotcha, got it. And you can do this in a calculator. So let's say negative 16 plus negative 8. Negative 11 plus 9. 9 minus 11. And 6, let's say negative 6 minus 2. Okay, and you can pause the video to work those out. You should know that you should get your answers negative 24, negative 2, 2, negative 8. Okay. The next section, the next thing we're going to do, we're just going to keep working down. Let's look at dividing fractions. So if I'm looking for x over y when x is negative 3/4 and y is negative 2/3. Okay, now my question is saying x divided by y. So instead of leaving it top and bottom like that, what you can do is write it as a division problem. So you can also write it as x divided by y, and that'll make it easier for you. So if I'm substituting in now, negative 3/4 divided by negative 2/3. My rule with dividing fractions is to keep it, change it, flip it. Negative 3/4, change that sign to multiplication, times, we're going to still keep it negative, but I'm doing the reciprocal of that fraction. So 3/2, and then I can multiply across. 3 times 3 is 9, over 4 times 2 is 8. And a negative times a negative is a positive. I remember it, a bad thing to a bad person is a good thing. So it's going to be a positive fraction here. All right. And then I want you to do a got it. Okay. So we're going to also look for x over y. Let's say when x is 3/4, let's say positive, and y is negative 5/2. So go ahead and pause the video so that you can do that. And then once you've solved it, you could have rewritten it as 3/4 divided by negative 5/2, or keep it, change it, flip it. 3/4 times negative 2/5. That's the reciprocal of that second fraction, and multiply across. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 5 is 20. And a good thing, so a positive number times a negative number, a good thing to a bad person is a bad thing. Okay? And you also know that we can reduce this. They're both even numbers, so 2 goes into both of them. So I can reduce it to negative 3/10. And that is a lesson on real number operations and dividing fractions.